Hi there, this is Michael and Emily with Selah Glory Farms. It's been a little while since we've posted. It's actually been a few years. And for those of you who don't know, we live in Virginia. We are a homesteading, homeschooling family with 7 kids. We live in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia. And it is spring here. It's getting ready to be really, really busy. We have a lot going on, and we would like to share with you currently what our processes are, what we're doing to get ready for spring, summer, and fall. We hope that you'll join us in our journey together as we're trying to figure this homesteading thing out. We've added a lot of animals to our farm. We have done a lot of infrastructure projects with fencing and a number of other things, new chicken brooder. There's just a lot. We're going to be building a greenhouse with recycled materials from a building we're taking down. So I hope you'll join us, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting few months. How are you today? Your name is Evan, right? Yeah. Hi, little Evan. Where you going? You gonna go see mommy? Yeah. Let's go see mommy. Let's go. Ready? Could you explain to us a little bit about what you have going on in your garden? The spring has just started here in Virginia. You explain, these cold frames and what else you have going on?
Okay. Well, what I did was in the garden, I actually planted a ground covering, and it was an edible ground covering. And you can see some of that coming up. It's been coming up. It's mustard greens and cress and all kinds of stuff, really. Spinach, turnip greens. So what I did recently was I'm just leaving that to kind of sit before I till everything under. And I have some cold frames that I just moved. So these are some of the herbs that kind of withstood the winter. The lavender didn't do real well, but you can see I've got parsley and rosemary and thyme and some sorrel right here. This back here I think is lady's mantle, I believe. And this is chives and more parsley. I think this is some oregano. I honestly cannot remember what this is, and I need to look it up. Some kind of medicinal herb. So I moved the cold frames off of these mulched herbs, and in the cold frames I'm doing my seedlings because I just really don't feel like, with a 2-year-old afoot, 2.5 years old really, I don't feel like that'd be a good idea to have that inside in the kitchen area. Even though I started to set it up, I just started thinking about it and thought maybe that's not a good idea. So I started seedlings, and I've got all kinds of things. I've got strawberry roots in here, and I've got some rhubarb. It's the first time I've ever planted strawberries from roots, so I don't know how they'll do. And I just got them from big box store. So we'll see how they do, because they were not very dried out, which I think is a good thing. I got them right away and potted them up. So I'm going to wait and see how they do in the cold frames before transplanting them to strawberry beds. And with these seedlings, I have a bunch of different things. I just put out some of the warmer weather crops like tomatoes and peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, and I've also got some flowers in here, like I've got zinnias, and let's see here, maybe that's hollyhocks. And then I've got a perennial insectuary mix that I got from one of the seed companies in Mineral, Virginia. So we'll see how that does. It's a perennial mix, and I'm hoping that will bring butterflies and honeybees into the garden. And over here I've got some of the colder weather varieties. So I've got my arugula, and let's see here, actually I have a lot of flowers in here too. We'll see what happens with those. Lots of perennial flowers. So Shasta, daisy, I've got calendula, that's not a perennial, but Coreopsis, a lot of different things. So I'm going to see what comes up, and some of my seed was new, some of it was older, some was as old as 2018, and I didn't refrigerate or freeze it, so we'll see if it actually germinates. But yeah, so we're just gonna experiment with these cold frames and see what actually happens. I don't feel like there's a lot online about starting seeds in cold frames. We're in zone 6 here, so we'll just see what comes up, and we'll go from there.
And these cold frames here were made from pallets and old windows. Our son Manny made them for us, and they're pretty simple design. We'd like to do some more. We have plenty of windows.
And what I've noticed is, if anything, I feel like they've been excellent for helping me to overwinter certain herbs, so that I have those things during the winter months, and I'm not going out to the store to buy them. And also, like I said, the medicinal herbs, because some of these things, they are perennial, but they just don't always overwinter well in our area. I actually wish that I had like 5 more of them because I really like them.
What in God's green earth are you concocting right there, woman? That is...
Okay, so
oh,
what I'm
gosh.
doing, and I don't know if this is gonna work, but I YouTubed it, so somebody else did this, and I'm copying their idea. I'm making a compost tea. This is basically it's just fresh manure because, it's fresh manure and water, and I'm going to let it
Cow
sit.
manure.
Cow manure from our
Right.
cows. I'm gonna let it sit for about 2 weeks and ferment and see if I can, pour this directly on plants. I really need to make a different one. I need to make another one. I'm not sure what the ratio is going to be. I don't know if this is going to be too strong in the end. It looks pretty potent, but basically the reason I'm doing this is because we have the 2 compost bins that you guys made for us. We have those, you just showed those over there, and they've got the hay in them and stuff like that. And that's kind of the problem in the barn with the animals. When I'm giving them hay, a lot of it ends up, on the floor of the barn, and the cows and the goats waste it. Actually, it's really the goats that waste it more than the cows. But because of that, so, they waste it, they go to the bathroom on it, and I'm taking all of that out, I'm cleaning that out from the floor of the barn and putting it in the compost bin. So the problem with that compost is it's got too many weed seeds in it right now, and I'm afraid not only is it fresh and it needs to age, but on top of that, I've got all of this hay seed in it. So I'm afraid if I put that on our garden directly, that we would have a ton of weeds. So I'm doing the compost tea. What I tried to do is take pretty much just the poop itself, put that in the bucket with the water, leave the hay. And I'm hoping that that will give me a mixture that's good enough to put directly on the garden in a couple of weeks.
Just a quick update here. We redid our grapevine area. This is a really old vine. We're going to be planting a couple more. And then we got these beds prepared. And they are edged and ready to go. So now all we need to do is just put some plants in there, which we should be buying some here soon. And then right over here, these are going to be where our strawberries go. The beds have been prepared. A friend of ours, Josiah Alexander, actually really quickly built this for us. And this is an old cattle waterer that had holes in it that we decided to use it. And a cattle panel for Emily's trellis. She's going to grow some hanging vines and all kinds of fun stuff. And this is a outdoor sink that I built. Actually took a little bit of Sow the Land's design and kind of modified it and made it my own. And then here are some compost bins made out of old pallets. Really simple. 2 pallets on the back side and then 1 on either side, and I just used some old fence boards to tie them together. We don't have a tractor, but if we did, these are big enough to where you could just bring a tractor bucket in and grab them. So we have some old potatoes that we let sprout, and we're actually going to plant these, and we're going to make more potatoes, and Emily's going to be cutting them up here. And these are actually potatoes that somebody gave us, or something happened along those lines, but we're going to plant those right in the ground right over here. We have tilled it and gotten it ready. So we're actually going to be planting them in rows. Just dig a hole, put it in, and hopefully we'll be harvesting some potatoes here in a few months. As you can see, string line down per the row, and we have potatoes that we're spreading out here, and then Emily's just gonna cover them up.
So first I started cutting up these seed potatoes and cutting off the excess parts and just leaving the eyes. And now I'm just planting them. This bedded area has been tilled. So I'm gonna plant them 6 to 8 inches apart. I'm not sure if I'm planting them deep enough, but what my plan is to cover over them. And then as I start seeing growth, I'm going to start mounding dirt up even higher and start adding compost to the mounds so that
plenty of that.
What?
We have plenty of compost.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And we can actually use it for this. So that's the game plan. And we have so many seed potatoes. And by the way, these potatoes were actually just potatoes that a huge truck had tried to deliver, I guess, to a supermarket, and they had gotten wet, I believe, or something had happened to the cooling system, and so the load was rejected, and the driver had all of these potatoes that couldn't be used, or couldn't be sold rather. So we took a whole bunch of them and we ate the majority, and then what was left I left down in the basement, and they started to sprout. And so all of this is basically just free. So I'm cutting them up, and we're gonna see what happens and what we can get as a harvest. So it's kind of a win-win everywhere.
And for your cuteness overload, we have little future mower on my Skag mower with a booger nose and chocolate face. But he's on my workhorses, and looks like he's getting ready for another season.